Now, companies that deal with freight want an urgent resolution to the wage impasse at Transnet. The South African Association for Freight Forwarders says that the ongoing strike is worsening the economic troubles in the country. It says logistic delays cost the company between 100 million and 1 billion rand a day. For more on this, we're joined now by the association's CEO, Juanita Maree. Very good morning to you, Juanita. No doubt a very, very dire occurrence in the country at the moment with what is happening with Transnet. And of course, this has a ripple effect on jobs and economic growth. And that is something we just don't need in South Africa at the moment.
Yeah, you're quite right. The timing is very problematic. And maybe if I just can correct you, when we look at the South Africa revenue stats that was coming out of August, we can put down that the merchandise that's moving import and export out of the country is around about 8 billion. So that's actually 6 times the energy crisis if you express it in value. So it's indeed very worrying.
So, in your engagements with different stakeholders over the last few days, have you heard any kind of certainty that is set to come in the next few days? Or is everyone in the industry kind of sitting in limbo in terms of just waiting to see what happens between the employer and the employee?
No, we definitely don't sit in limbo. There is various, because as you know, supply chain have about 12 different role players. So it works from the water side to the terminal to the evacuation. And we have a very open economy. So we as businesses very worry about the circumstances, because if we stop our ports, which is the 9 enter and exit points, we're actually throttling our economy. And we're going to go down a point where we think it's not possible to return. So it's for us very serious, and we engage in different forums because we need to find a solution, and we encourage government and Labour to get closer to each other.
And it's not just the issue of the strike that the freight industry would be dealing with here, Juanita. There are infrastructure issues and lack of maintenance issues that have persisted for years and have gone unresolved. How are the freight operators, or those operating in the freight industry, navigating that particular issue?
Yeah, maybe if I just can give you an example, just to give a context of the problem, and the bigger problem that we sit with is that the 9 ports have a split between the waterside and the terminal. And it's not that they have different equipment, they share the equipment. So, and if we take it further, if the vessels are all foreign owned, so they come according to different schedules. So if they call a port and they cannot be serviced in this certain hours or days, and there's a productivity issue, then they will not say it in the media because they don't want to be blamed and shamed, but they alter their schedules. And we actually, as South African, and myself and you as the end consumer, pay the brunt, because we will not get the imports, neither the exports, and it's a devastating situation. So, yeah, it goes further. And if you look at the fertilizers comes in, we're coming now to the planting season. We've got medical equipment that needs to go to the different hospitals. We can't supply it. So it's not just the ports, it's the downstream of the economy that nobody can calculate. It's actually a devastating situation. That's all what I can say. I think, and the decision makers don't really comprehend the different linkages, or maybe they have a lack of understanding, but it is not a good situation at all.
It is a very dire situation indeed. In fact, I spoke to the berries industry CEO yesterday, and he had indicated that the backlog or the delays that occur when it comes to servicing export markets really affect the credibility of the products that South Africa sells to the rest of the world, because the longer they sit at the docks, the quality is impacted. So future relationships with key export markets are at risk when we see instances of this nature, Juanita.
Yes, the berry season is now in their main season, and they need to export. And you know, international trade works on trust. And as we in South Africa lose our trust in the world of that we can't give service reliability, we affect our export potential. I was just coming last week. I landed yesterday evening from Brussels, and they ask what is happening. So the international market is very concerned, and it doesn't help us because if our supply chains cannot unlock the reliability, and apart from that, it cannot support the trade growth, well, we're in a difficult situation.
We are indeed. Juanita, thank you very much for your time this morning. Juanita Maree, who's the CEO of the SA Association of Freight Forwarders.